Sarah, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I'm super excited to talk to you today. You are just a whiz when it comes to marketing. You're everywhere, and I feel like you have so much gold to share with our audience. But first, why don't you just introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about who you are, your background, and your business.
So I am Sarah Noel Block, the founder of Marketing, and I help B2B service founders with high-ticket offers build lean marketing engines. So it's super easy, and you don't get burnt out.
I think we all know what it feels like to be burnt out over marketing. There's just so much to do. So I feel like you could talk to us about all kinds of topics, building marketing systems, email systems. I know you're really great at open rates, click-through rates, content strategies, but I actually wanted to bring you here to talk about something very specific, something that I've watched you do and talk about inside Mastery many times. It's a specific strategy that I know will help our listeners, and that is building a network using online events. So personally, I feel like putting on events, putting on masterclasses, webinars, meetups, all of these are really great ways to meet prospects and connect pretty quickly and go down that sales pipeline pretty fast. And I feel like getting people to those events and finding the new people to bring in is one of the biggest challenges that small agency owners have. And you are amazing at leveraging online communities and events to build your list and bring prospects to your events. So I was hoping we could talk about that. Does that?
Yeah. Let's talk about it. It's so nice and organic and feels natural because you're building friendships along the way.
Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about this. What do you do? Tell us what you enjoy doing about this and how you do it.
Yeah, well, let's talk high level how it works, and why I enjoy it is because it feels real and human. I really hate overly manufactured content that doesn't feel real. And this is building authentic relationships every step of the way. I always describe it like my content, I design it in this funnel where I'm like hugging you a little bit tighter every single time because we're just getting closer and our relationship is getting more intimate. But high level, it's a 3 to 5 content series strategy where I have 3 to 5 episodes on my podcast on a certain topic, high level, and I'll have different guests for it. And all of those episodes are funneling down to that event, a culminating event that will take us a little bit deeper on how we can actually implement this strategy we've been talking about for those episodes into our actual businesses. So that's how I do it. And then because I'm doing it with interviews, I have strategic partners that are helping me bring more people into that event each step. They are all promoting that event with their people. They might be part of the event. It depends on what kind of event it is, but that helps a ton. And then finding those watering holes where your ideal customers are, those online communities, speaking, doing like a 20-minute masterclass for them, and then pitching the event at the end. It's really easy once someone sees you talk about your thing for someone to be like, okay, I want deeper. I want to get in deeper on that. I'll go to that event.
Absolutely. So, I mean, it sounds like, let's be honest, you've already built quite a machine, right? You've got you have strategic partners, you've got a podcast that people are listening to. So they have to be listening to your podcast in order to go down this funnel. What would you say to somebody who doesn't have a podcast, doesn't have strategic partners, and is looking to expand their network, looking to meet new prospects and start to bring them into their world? I know I've seen you talk about leveraging things like meetup.com or maybe Eventbrite or maybe LinkedIn events. Like,
all of them.
Talk a little bit about that. Yeah. Tell me a little more.
Yeah. So high level, yes, the podcast is the source of it, but it's more of a content ecosystem because that event is also promoted on Meetup, and Meetup does the heavy lifting for me. It pushes it out to all the people they think that would like that event. So they fill it a lot. And then I have my event also on LinkedIn, and I do Eventbrite occasionally if it's like a bigger event that I really want to make sure people are getting in, but you have to boost to actually get like leverage that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not great organically. Meetup is amazing organically. And yeah, so it actually works more like an ecosystem because I get a lot of people who have never heard of me before through those, and then they learn about the past. So then they end up pulling into those other series and events later. So it all works together really nicely. And if you don't have partnerships, it's pretty easy to start building those partnerships. I always say that's the first thing that you should do when you start building like content marketing platform is leveraging collaborations and borrowing other people's audiences.
Beautiful. So explain what a partnership is.
Yeah. So what I did when I first started and didn't have any collabs under my belt is I started reaching out to product companies that were serving the same audience as me. And I would do some sort of event for them. I would offer to do a webinar for them, for their audience. And then they could do something for my audience and we can exchange. So it became pretty easy to find people that are like, yeah, I also want to borrow an audience. And I just looked for product companies because they are probably the easiest ones to collab with because they want to get as many people in front of their product as possible.
Gotcha. So you would do a masterclass on marketing for them.
Yeah.
And what would they do a class? What would they do for your people?
So it depends on the product, but I just did one with Apollo. And Apollo is like a automation lead gen company. And they did one on how to find make a ideal customer list. So you know how like in your 1KO, you talk about how you should find your dream clients, make a list of them, and then start reaching out to them systematically. Mm-hmm. Well, you can do that with Apollo super easy with filters. So that's what they were teaching my audience.
Oh, very cool. Okay, so that's partnerships, that's having content. Can we go back a second? You said Meetup was like a great place to get people. Explain to me, let's say that we're talking to somebody, this is their first event. Give me an example of what an event might be that you would put on, that you would market on Meetup.
I do a lot of workshops. So the one compliment that I get consistently across the board is, oh, this isn't something I can watch passively. I'm actually getting something at the end of it. Now, all sorts of events do really, really well on Meetup. I've seen networking events kill it. Panels, roundtables, webinars, they all work. I do workshops because I like at the end of it, they have a workbook. I'll create a workbook for every one of my events and they're actually doing the work in it and they have some tangible win at the end of it. And I think that's why they convert so well to sales because they had that little micro win in the event.
Yeah, so smart. We need them to not just be on a veiled sales event, right?
Because yes. I hate those. I hate that so much. As soon as I whiff it, like this is a sales thing, actually, I'm out.
Absolutely. Right. So you come on, you're supposed to learn all this stuff. And then it's like, but we're actually going to talk about this other thing the entire time. And then say that the answer is if you hire us.
It's so cringy.
Yeah, it's super cringe. And I think that's also why people are worried about going to events, right? People feel like they've got their defenses up in the beginning. What do you do in the beginning of an event to make sure that they know that this is not that kind of event?
I do a little preamble and I let them know like this is what we're doing and this is what you're going to get by the end. So I try and explain what transformation I'm going to pull them through in that 60 or 90 minutes that we're together. And I give them the workbook right away so they know that they're actually doing something. They're not going to be listening to a pitch.
Got it.
I don't even pitch on these events, actually. It just happens later in the process.
Got it. Well, you're bringing them onto your list in this process too, right?
Yes.
And emailing them after.
Exactly. I'm getting them on my list. I'm nurturing them. Sure. Because you're in this world too. Service, like high ticket service pitching and selling in one single event doesn't happen. It's bringing people into your world, nurturing them, and then it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so interesting. So you use events to pull people to you and you advertise them on all of these different platforms. Do you ever go to other people's events to get leads?
Constantly, and I love it.
Tell me more about that.
I don't know if we've ever talked about that before, but I do that all the time. I find the watering hole, like online communities where my dream clients are, and I go to pretty much all of their events. And the first thing I do is, hey, everybody, let's drop our LinkedIn links in the chat. That's the first thing I do. And I connect with everybody. I send personal messages to all of them. And I set up connection calls, which you taught me, with all of them. And it has worked magically. I have gotten so many sales from that.
Amazing. So you find these other events also, where do you find these other events online?
Yeah, so I'm in like a couple Slack communities that host monthly events. I am in Entreprenista, a couple Circle communities where they host these events. So that's where I'm finding them. Basically anywhere, because I'm selling to B2B service businesses. Anywhere they're hanging out, I'm hanging out too.
You're an entrepreneurista,
Yeah.
the community. Did
Are
you know?
you?
No, but Courtney and I were in a mentorship group like 15 years ago together when they started Social
Oh,
Fly.
really?
Yeah, her and Stephanie are like dear to my heart. They are doing so well. How is that community? What
It's
is that
pretty
community?
cool. I just joined last month because they reopened it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I really like it so far.
Awesome.
But a lot of people that I sell to are in it and told me about it. So I was like, they're in it. I better get in it too.
Let's highlight that point really quickly. You join a community because you know that a lot of your market is going to be in that community. What a
That is
great
the
place.
only reason.
Right. And then there's tons of events that they're doing to help their clients, but you're really there because you know they're actually your clients too.
Yeah, I'm there to network.
Yeah, totally. I keep hearing, yeah, now I'm going to feel, I sound old. I keep hearing about Slack channels, communities on Slack channels. Now, we use
Yeah.
Slack every day for our business, but I've never been a part of a community Slack channel, and I frankly don't know where you even find them. How do you know about these? They feel so covert.
Oh my gosh. Well, all of those connection calls I've done over the past year, I always ask what communities they're in. So that's how I'm finding them.
Got it. So they really are like, you need to know.
Yeah,
Be
they're kind of
connected.
secret. So I'm always asking, and I have a list of all of the ones that people have told me about. I'm in one called Fractionals United that's really great. And probably all the business I've gotten in the last 2 months has been from leads I've gotten there, people I've met through there.
Brilliant. Okay, so let's recap. The idea is obviously we want to be doing events because events are a great way to bring people to you. You can advertise them in all these different places. You said LinkedIn, maybe Eventbrite, but not as much. Meetup. Any other
Yeah.
places you think are great to advertise?
Those are the only two places that I advertise. I will do a lot with collabs though, where I'll talk about it when I'm doing some sort of masterclass for other communities that would be good for this, or people that have been on my podcast before. I'll send it out and ask if they want to share it with their audience. So that's another way I get in front of people.
Of course. Partnerships and collabs. So
Yeah.
I love that model. I'm a huge fan of doing events to bring people to you and of course nurturing them. But of course, all of that is, I think, a step two. You have to have some sort of content already. You've got to have some sort of machine set up. For the people who are, maybe let's just say they have nothing, really finding these online communities and saying, I love that. Hey, let's all drop our LinkedIn link here. And now you've got just
Yeah.
connected with everybody. But guys, I hope you noticed like the most important thing Sarah said, which is, and then I connected with every single person and sent them a personalized note
Yeah.
and asked to hop on a call. That's the difference. I think people just love to click, 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 connect, and then completely forget about this.
Yeah, it'll go nowhere if you forget about that piece.
Yeah, absolutely. And how do you position this call?
Just, do you want to connect and see how we can help each other out? You know, the typical connection call, and I've never had anyone say no.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I do want to know how we can help each other out.
Of course, because they're there. It's a self-selecting group, right? People who
Yeah.
are showing up. They're people who are actively trying to grow their businesses. I think people are really worried. I mean, I'm sure you've heard this. I hear this a lot inside our community. Oh, people don't want to talk to me because they're going to feel like it's a waste of their time, when really it's like, well, first of all, if someone doesn't want to talk to you, then okay, that's totally fine. What's the
Yeah,
big
they'll say no or they'll
Yeah.
ignore you.
Yeah, so what? We're looking for the people who do want to talk to you because those are people who potentially know your clients or could even be your client. Tell me one more thing, Sarah. Your focus is on marketing, B2B marketing, so your niche is quite broad. How discerning are you about these communities? How do you describe, when you ask your clients, like, where do you hang out and stuff, how do you describe the kind of places you're looking to hang out?
Yeah, that I'm looking for ones with specifically service providers because that's the most important piece for me. It might sound broad, but I am working with so many consultants and fractionals, and it doesn't feel broad. It might sound broad out loud, but it doesn't feel broad because when I see it, I'm like, yeah, you are perfect for this.
Totally. Oh, no, I don't think, when you say fractionals, you mean fractional CMOs?
Fractional fractional
CEOs.
C-suite.
C-suite. Got it.
Usually not CMOs. They're marketing themselves.
Well, be surprised how often
I'm not that surprised. There's a lot on my list.
Yeah. Sometimes people with marketing do the worst marketing for themselves, and I don't get it. Well, it sounds like a brilliant process. I think a lot of people are just don't realize the amount of opportunity that is out there online. And you know what's really interesting that you didn't say is you didn't say I go to Facebook. And I think a lot of people go to Facebook, and
I
I'm
haven't
not
been on
surprised.
Facebook in years.
Yeah. Tell me more about that.
Well, ever since the election, the 2016 election, I haven't been on there. I'm like,
I can't.
Yeah. I was like, I'm starting to dislike people that I loved. So I'm just going to get off of here.
Gotcha. It was a personal choice.
Yeah.
Not a business choice.
No. But it hasn't hurt my business at all.
Yeah. I think that most people, if they even have a whiff of this kind of strategy of going into communities and looking to connect with people, the first place they think is Facebook groups. But I can tell you, I personally haven't found Facebook groups to be as high quality as some of these other things you're talking about.
I mean, back in the day when I was on Facebook, I would go in those groups and no, nothing happened from it. It was all really, it felt very entry level.
Very entry level, yeah. So I think what I'm also learning from this is there's something about you need to know about it a little bit, about these communities that actually elevates the kind of people that are in it and the kind of conversations that are being had.
That's true. I haven't thought about that, but the fact that I have to dig to find them and ask the people that I want to work with, what communities are you in? Then they're kind of secret. They're kind of underground.
Yeah, and this is actually a really great question to ask anybody that you're on a connection call with, because, hey guys, when you're asking someone, hey, let's get on a phone call and see how we can help each other, this is a way to help each other. So if you're wondering, how can I help people? I know this is another thing that people listening often struggle with. Well, how can I help anyone except for them to hire me? Well, if you do the work of finding these kinds of communities, you might be able to suggest a community to somebody else, and you can certainly ask that of the people that you're speaking with.
Yeah, I always go into those connection calls with some sort of give that I have just pre-prepared. I have the communities that I think that would be good for them, or people that I know would be a great connection for them that are ready to go. So communities are a great way. And if I don't have a clear ask for them that day, that's what it is. It's what communities are you in?
Yeah, that's so good. It's such an easy ask because you're not really asking them to put themselves out there in any way. You're just asking them for information. And guys, information is sometimes the most valuable thing you can give people.
Yeah, and they're just bringing you to this place where all of your people are hanging out. It's so valuable.
So cool. Okay, so I want to switch gears just for this last part, and I want you to just tell us a little bit more about how you work with people and what those engagements look like.
Yeah, so I am helping people. My LP is building out their blueprint on what their lean marketing engine could look like, what would make sense for their particular business. And then the actual intensive is building that out, including all of like the automations and how to make it really systematic so you could do it even if you don't have a marketing department.
Brilliant. What is the smallest kind of business that you've done this for?
One-person businesses is the smallest one. Yeah, just like solo fractionals that are like, I don't know how to market. I'm just really good at the thing I do.
Right. And do they create the content and put it into your system, or do you create the content, or is it kind of a combination?
Yeah, it's a combination. I'm moving more towards a done with you model because of the people. I'm enjoying it more. And I feel like I'm getting a better result because when you're handed something, it sits in your drive. But if you're collaborating, you're part of the process and you can fully understand how to use it and bring it into your world and actually execute every day, that it's better for you. So I'm moving more towards that.
Yeah, I can second that just from personal experience. You can't just hand your marketing over to somebody else completely because it is you. You're marketing yourself. And if it's disconnected, if somebody else creates it, you don't even know it exists, I'm not sure it's really going to resonate.
No, I mean, it's built to resonate, but you're not going to execute it. I have found that as soon as I leave, they stop executing. That's why I'm moving more towards done with you.
Gotcha. So you can make sure that they actually get the results and implement.
Yeah, keep it going. I don't want this falling apart.
Of course. Well, marketing is definitely something that needs to be ongoing, and hopefully it's systematized so you're not showing up and having to make it push the horse cart every day, but you're going to have to be there.
Yeah, it can be so easy and fit into the schedule you have. You just need the right system in place and like a solid, lean, easy strategy. But before we go, there's two things I wanted to add on how to move these events to a sale. One thing is after the event, the thank you page, like they sign up for the event and then they go to a thank you page, have some sort of masterclass that's on there with a bookable link that they can schedule their LP, and you're moving them towards that. And then after the event, you can send that email sequence that includes that also. But that masterclass could add value on its own and explain why the LP is helpful. And something I'm going to test out, which I'm just throwing out there, is doing like after the free event, offering a group masterclass for people who attended, where we can actually like dig into each one, like what you did in that workshop, go into each one and kind of hot seat what you created and how to make it work. So that one would be paid to bring people a little bit closer, get people used to that transaction. So we'll see how that goes. The thank you page definitely works. I'm going to test out this masterclass upgrade.
Well, just to be clear, you're inviting someone to a workshop and then your thank you page is a masterclass. And is that what you're saying?
The thank you page, would have a masterclass.
So before they come to the workshop, they watch this masterclass.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So just for our audience, workshop means you're showing up and you're actually doing some work, versus masterclass, which is I'm doing a presentation. And in this case, it's a pre-recorded presentation with a button at the bottom that says book a call. So if you are implementing the no BS model, then that book a call is really a fit call, right?
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
Watch this masterclass and then, well, let's see if we're a fit. You might be able to get them onto a call before they even come to this workshop. And you know what I love about that? I had a coach years ago who actually said, he called it the webinar that doesn't matter, because the whole purpose of the webinar was really to bring people into this funnel you're talking about and get them on a call. And he said, it doesn't matter if people sign up, come, don't come. It doesn't really matter. The point of it is to bring them into this funnel and get them to book a call. And people who sign up for events often don't have time to actually go to the event. They really just want to work with you. And so we want to give them that opportunity to book that call beforehand and get on that call. And maybe they'll just hire you before it even happens.
Yeah. And it could be interesting to take the audio from that workshop that you did and have it in a private podcast. Like if you're doing a series like this, you could drop them all in there and that could be its own lead magnet.
I love it. Reuse your content, guys. That is a huge, huge opportunity that I feel like people don't think is okay. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Well, you're full of them, Sarah. Keep them coming. It's been so great having you. Thank you so much for dropping so much gold. Well, I guess you have to tell us when's your next event, or we don't know exactly when this is going to air. So maybe do you have some sort of different offer that may be a little more evergreen for our audience?
Well, they can join my meetup group and then they can see all of my events that are coming up. And my regular one is the Lean Marketing Engine Masterclass, where I'm teaching you the framework of how to build your own lean marketing engine.
That's perfect. Is it a short link? We'll put it in the show notes. All right, Sarah, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
You're doing amazing. I'm so proud of all the work that you've done with us, and, keep helping these poor small businesses who just can't do their marketing because obviously it's so overwhelming. I love that you're helping them shine and keep it going instead of dropping it because it's so hard.
Yes, thank you. I really enjoy it.